Hey everybody, what is a pet pedigree and how do we make that number bigger? Well, first let's talk about what a pedigree is. If you click on your spell book, click on the question mark, click on the pet tab, and go to page 10 of 12 using the arrows, your pet's pedigree score represents its upper potential, which is how rare and powerful the talents and powers are that it can manifest. The higher its pedigree, the better. And that's ultimately what I want to show you, is how you get the highest pedigree possible for your pet. The second number represents how much of your pet's potential pedigree it has already manifested. Pet hatching, it can all be a nightmare. It will test your patience extremely. And we'll get to that eventually in the next few videos that I put out about pets. We're going to take a look at my pet, which is a red ghost, Princess Rocco, red ghost. She has a pedigree of 69 and a manifested score of 26. How is the pedigree determined? Epic, you'll notice next to Epic there's a ring with 4 little pips, if you want to call them. Well, those 4 pips and that ring equal a score of 5. So 3 pips in a ring would be 4, 2 pips in a ring would be 3, 1 pip in a ring would be 2, etc. on down. So if you were to add up every pip and ring for each of the talents and the derby, in this case it would equal 69. Now, my manifested number comes from the talents that it has already manifested. So if you were to take 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3, that number will give you 26. So then, that leads us on to the next part of the question. How do I get my pet's pedigree boosted, and what is the highest possible pedigree out there? Well, the answer to that question is this. The highest known pedigree in the game as of this recording is a score of 100. Really, 100, you say? Yes. And that would be assuming that every manifested and unmanifested talent and derby talent were all epic. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. An additional 50 here would give you a pedigree of 100. But every one of these would have to be epic. And that's probably a feat to do. It's my advice that if you want to increase the pedigree of your pet and you want a higher pedigree pet, that you hatch with a higher pedigree pet than your own. Well, Belgrim, how do you do that? Well, you simply just have to ask around in the hatchery. You have to look for somebody that has a pet that is at least, so in my case, I would be looking for a pet to at least be a 70. If I found somebody with a 70 pedigree, I would ask them to hatch. There's nobody here, but the whole idea, the whole way to raise your pedigree is to take, say, a pedigree pet of 69 and hatch it with a 69 or higher. If you hatch with a 68 or lower, it may not happen. So, for instance, there is a pet here named Mr. Tyson, a Forest Lord pet. On its face, it looks pretty good, but it's a 63 pedigree, so I would not even consider that. Hopefully, what you would do is you would hatch with yourself. You know, and you could probably do it yourself. If you had a pet that was 69 pedigree and you had another pet that was 68, hatch them two together. Hopefully you get a 72. Now, when you get that 72 pedigree, you want to hatch it with the 69. And it may take multiple hatches. But when you get that 74 pedigree, then you hatch it with the 72 pedigree and so on. It's a slow, painful process, and it may not always work on the first hatch. So, but in my next series of videos on pets, we'll get further into pet hatching, how to hatch the perfect pet, how to get talents such as Sprightly or Maycast Unicorn, or here's a good pet. How do we get pets to have Spellproof or Pain Giver or Sharp Shot? We'll talk about all of that in my next series of videos on pets and pet hatching. Good luck, and a special shout out to Eric Soulweaver. I hope I answered your question, and if I didn't, we'll try it again. Bye, everybody.